Welcome to the Why Not Real Estate Podcast, where you will learn top strategies from world-class real estate investors, both large and small. Why not? Tune in and get started today. I've been doing this a long time, 23 years. I've made a lot of contacts. I've been in Massachusetts managing for 23 years. The other markets, maybe the last 4 or 5. And I love doing this. I built a machine, I built the operations, I love running it, I love throwing wood in the fire and cranking up the heat. I train my team, I handpick my team. We got rock stars, and if somebody's not performing as a rock star, they know I will jump on a plane, show up in the office the next morning, collect keys, cell phone, and show that person the door. Hey, what's up, all of my real estate peeps? This is Brian Lucier with the Why Not Real Estate Podcast, and today is something a little different. I just got off of a call with a brand new client, a brand new landlord who has hired our property management company to care for his property, and he wanted to get on the call with me, ask me some questions, interview me, find out what the next steps were. And about 45 minutes into the call, I asked him, I says, hey, Demetrius, you're asking some really great content here that I think would help a lot of new landlords or people looking to getting into real estate for the first time. Would it be okay with you if we continued this Zoom call and allowed permission to make it into one of our episodes? And he said, absolutely. So Demetrius, thank you. And all of my real estate ladies and gentlemen and peeps, I want to welcome to the show Demetrius Pollard, brand new landlord, math teacher, husband, family of 2 children. I think he just had a new child, and really excited to be into the real estate space. His first property, and he closed on it yesterday, less than 24 hours ago. So brand new landlord. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. And now I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Demetrius Pollard.
How you doing, Brian?
Good, good. I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit. Mike says you're a really nice guy.
Oh, I don't think Mike was a nice guy too, man.
Yeah, he's my nephew. I've been training him on this stuff since I've known him, probably for the last 10 years or so. So this is your time. I'm all ears, ready to answer any questions you might have.
Nice. I heard you were in Aruba.
Rumor has it, yes.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, we're on East Coast, West Coast, and South Coast. So we're Belaire East, Belaire West, Belaire South.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. So couple questions. So for the unit that is vacant, how will we determine what the rent will be? I know the other units are paying $1,700 each.
Sure.
But how will we determine that unit?
3-bedroom. I'm going into the rent market.
2-bedroom.
It's a 2-bedroom?
2-bedroom, 1 bath. Yep.
All right. Let me fix that because I'm actually working on it right now. Okay, let me save that. Okay, perfect. Going into the rentometer reports, Fitchburg last month. And a 2-bedroom in Fitchburg, median rent $1,750.
$1,750. So it'd be about the same as the other units.
Yep. I did see the pictures that Mike sent me, and I don't sugarcoat things. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think, and then you can tell me what you'd like to do. The only heating system in that unit is a gas-on-gas stove. Those you cannot get serviced anymore. I also see in the photograph that there's a lighter on top of the stove, which tells me that the burners probably aren't lighting properly. Be prepared before winter to have to replace that stove and put in a parlor heater.
Okay.
We'll get it rented first. Let's see, how would I do the strategy on this? I would get it rented, tell the tenants moving in that this is something we're looking at doing.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, we need to start collecting rent before we can do that. So possibly September, well, by code, September 15th, all heating systems need to be up and functional.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that buys us a couple of months to cross that bridge.
Okay.
Now,
And I personally, I would rather do it sooner than later, just to kind of get it out the way.
okay, thank you. That's good to
Mm-hmm.
hear. But I also want to be sensitive that this costs you money. So
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have someone put down a couple deposits and pay a couple of months' rent before it's coming straight out of your pocket.
Okay, I can see that too.
Yeah, if we can do that, we can do that. Do you have an orange consumer Home Depot card?
I don't.
We're going to get you signed up with one of those, and I'll tell you why. Um, 20, yeah, for the past 23 years now, we've been managing properties in a strategy we use all the time. I see you have some nice appliances behind you. When we do a rehab, we can go into Home Depot on the orange Home Depot card, the consumer card, and defer payments for a year. So if we had to drop $3,000 on an appliance package, that gives us a year to kick that can down the road, where in the meantime, we can finish the unit, get it rented, get some cash flow in, build up some reserves. I'm always trying to avoid you having to make direct payments. So if we can get some cash flow rolling, that would be nice. So we could do that on the stove for this
Okay.
unit. Now, the parlor heaters, last time we had to do one of these, and it varies on the BTUs, those are the British thermal units. A plumber comes in, does a footprint plus the height, gets a cubic square footage, and then we have to get a space heater to do that square footage. Those could run around $1,600. So you may be looking at around 2,000 to 2,500 bucks to get past the gas on gas stove. So I'd really
Okay.
like to get it rented first. A couple months
Mm-hmm.
rent will help take the sting off of that.
Definitely.
Okay,
Is
you
there
also
a question? Is there a limit? Or is there a limit on those orange cards? The Home Depot orange cards?
set by your credit.
Like I know you said, oh, okay, based on your credit.
Yeah, mine is up
Okay.
to like $60,000, so I could pretty much rehab a unit or 3 units, no problem.
Yeah,
Because,
nice.
this is crazy sick. We spend $250,000 to 300 a year at Home Depot, so
Mhm.
we're up there. Also,
Okay.
if you're ever going to buy paint at Home Depot,
Mhm.
go in there, use my phone number, the one that I've been calling you on, the
Yep.
978. Now I have to think. 978-302-6071, and you'll get
Mhm.
20% off paint, period.
Okay.
So that's always a bonus and a plus. I don't care if you're using it this unit, if you want to give it to your grandmother, if she's going to paint her bathroom, whatever. If you got a friend,
Okay.
aunt, cousin who's going to paint, you can give them my phone number at Home Depot, Bear Paint, right at the counter, get 20% off. So
Very
it's
nice.
it's because we do so much volume with them, we get a discount. And by
Nice.
using it, we get more of a volume and get more of a discount. So
Gotcha.
okay, and then you do have $5,000 in security deposits. So I'm going to have you tell
Well,
me, yeah.
it's not a security. It's for the month of July and the last month's rent. It was 5,500.
So there is no security deposit.
There is no security.
Good, because those get messy.
Okay.
So basically, this money is your money. This is the money that you received for July
Mm-hmm.
for rents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And what about the last month's rent? I guess.
Yeah, we'll
Would
get
that
to
go to you guys or would that?
well, that's your money, so hold that thought and I'll walk you through it. So we got
Mhm.
3,400 times two. So what is their last month's rent? Because 17 and 17 is 34, and you are holding how much?
Uh, 5,500, 5,500.
So without knowing who's allocated to what, if I divided the balance between two, it's $1,050. Does
Mhm.
I probably have this information in their leases. Typically, what I'd like to see is their last month rent be bumped up to that $1,700 for their last month's rent.
Mhm.
'Cause I mean, we can get through it, but say they gave notice to move out, if it is split between the two of them, 10,050, then somebody's got to come up with 650 bucks for their last month's rent. And
Mhm.
I've got everything in their database right now, but I'll stay on point answering your questions instead of searching for all that stuff. Okay, so the last month's rent, congratulations. I mean, the rent for July, congratulations. That's yours. Set it
Okay.
up in the bank account for this property. Now, you own this property as you, not as an LLC?
Correct. But I'm looking to move it into an LLC. I actually have a phone call today at 1 with someone who's
Um,
supposed to help me do.
that could get messy because you've just closed the loan as you.
Okay.
So the way a bank is going to look at that, it's being transferred to another entity.
Mhm.
So they want the first loan paid off to open a loan with the second one. We don't want to do that.
Okay.
So you may, let's see, I'm not an
But
attorney and I don't play one on TV. There, let's get the
Mhm.
disclaimer out of the way there. Okay, so you can do this, but just don't send a letter to the bank saying, hey, I just put this mortgage into an LLC. And
Mhm.
who did you get the mortgage through?
Southeast. He said it was moving. Give me 1 second. Loan was through United Wholesale Mortgage.
Great. I've never heard of them.
Mhm.
So, where do you live? Where's your location?
Chelmsford,
Okay.
Massachusetts.
So, I would say open up a bank account near your house that is not this bank.
Mhm.
So, if you form your LLC, take your LLC documents, go to the bank, open up a bank account. We'll
Mhm.
redirect everything that we have set up for you now to that account. Not a problem. What we're
Okay.
trying to avoid is this ugly little monster known as the due on sale clause.
Mhm.
So if you transfer this to another entity, the first bank can say, hey, this was due on sale because you transferred it from yourself to another entity. They'll look at that as a sale because they don't have a mortgage with your LLC.
Mhm.
So they've just been put in a second position and they don't like that.
Okay.
Okay. So you can do all this, work with your attorney that puts together your LLC,
Mhm.
because if the first bank ever finds out, they're going to say, hey, you put that thing in an LLC. You can't do that. You say, oh,
Mhm.
my bad. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I didn't know. I'll put it right back into my personal name. Okay?
Mhm.
You have the
Mhm.
flexibility to do that.
Do you think would it be better if I waited to put it into a LLC? Like, so it's just not so recent, I guess.
Well, in my experience, as long as the mortgage is getting paid
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're not late on the mortgage and as long as you're under their radar, they don't care. They're not going to be looking for you.
Okay.
If you start writing checks to the bank issued to the LLC, like what's the name of your LLC going to be?
Pollard Provision Properties.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
PPP LLC. If
Mm-hmm.
they start getting checks from PPP LLC, they may say, hey, this looks strange. Demetrius bought it and it's in his name, but we're getting a check from PPP LLC.
Mm-hmm.
Did he transfer title to another entity? That might be something they'd look at. So that's a potential speed bump.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry about it at this point in time. Do you have an attorney already set up to do your LLC?
Well, I already have the LLC set up.
Okay.
It's just now going to the bank and getting an account open.
Did you
So I
already?
have all the paperwork,
Okay.
my EIN.
Perfect. You're ahead of the game. Perfect. Did you have the LLC before the purchase?
Before the yep.
Okay. I'm going to give you a little tip for your next building.
Mm-hmm.
When you, I got to think of the exact words here. Assignee. When you purchase a property on your LLC, you say Demetrius Pollard or assignee. And if any of the attorneys say, hey, what's this? I says, well, I'm going to qualify on me, but when I close it, I'm going to close it as an LLC.
Mm.
Because you can assign the interest to an LLC at closing, which puts all this off the bank's radar. They don't care.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
Okay.
Save that one for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a shell game here. I mean, at the end of the day, you can do this however you want. I'm just trying to make you aware of some of the potential speed bumps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if a speed bump does happen, just take it out of the LLC. That's easy enough to do. Okay. Okay. The last month's rents. Congratulations. That's your money. You don't have to put it into an account.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't put it into an account, what'd you say it was? $2,200? Actually, I can figure that out. $2,100 times 0.05. Yeah, that's a big number. Let me do it again. Yeah, you would be paying your tenants $5.50 or $5.25 a year on the interest on that if you do not put it into an account. The law, Mass General Law 186 subsection 15B says that's your money. You can spend it today if you want. If you do, you have to give the tenants 5% interest annually.
Mm.
Or if you put it in an account, an escrow account, we're getting a piddly 0.001%, which would decrease that interest to $1.05 a year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's small money, but see, I'm less concerned about the last month's rent because if you get caught up on it and they bag you for triple damages, all you're paying is the triple damages on the interest.
Yep.
So it could be 50, 100, couple $100. It's not going to be the end of the world if you don't put it in an escrow account.
Okay.
A security deposit would be for the full amount. So that's 1,700. If that got screwed up, could cost you $5,100.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'm always cautious on setting up these two accounts. Less concerned about last month's rent. Got to go by the letter of the law, 186 subsection 15B, for a security deposit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, being said, you've got an empty unit.
Mm-hmm.
You have options. Oh, before I move on to that, do you have any other questions for me?
So also, so we don't have to make the, sorry, give me 1 second.
No, that's okay. Family comes first.
So we actually don't have to make the first payment until September 1st.
That's correct. A
So the
mortgage,
month of August, so the month of August rents, would I just put those in a separate account, or
well,
how would that kind
what I'd like to see happen so we can monitor who's paying and who's not, I'd like to set it up where your tenants are paying Belaire. Because if we got to go in and do X, Y, Z, or have the lawn mowed or whatever, we'll collect the rents. Any expenses to manage the property during the month we'll take from the rents. On the 15th, we do the distribution to you. So say it's winter time and we get a snowplow bill for $100. If the 1,700 times 3, say the building is making 5,100, we get a bill for 100, we would subtract the 100 from the 5,100.
Mm-hmm.
Then you would be getting the distributions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. Would you guys take the 10% from the 5,100 or from the 5,000? Granted, it's only $10, but
It would only be from collected rents.
I'm collecting it.
So
Okay.
if the building is fully rented at 1,700, we're looking at 510 for management fees, if that's what was on the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So in that scenario, management fees plus $100 plow, you would get $4,490 into your account distribution.
Yep. That makes sense.
So any out-of-pocket stuff that we do, labor and materials are charged. Labor is $75 an hour. I'm sure that you watched all the videos I gave you. Say somebody does a maintenance call. Our maintenance crew is trained to say, yes, Mr. Tenant, we got your work order. We're going to schedule that and let you know when we can come. They also will send you the work order and say, hey, D, how do you want to handle this? Do you have your own guy? Do you want to go over there with a screwdriver and change a light bulb or whatever? Do you want us to do it? You always have the option. If you have plumbers or electricians that you prefer, we'll always go whatever makes you comfortable. If you want to go directly, if you got a cousin that paints or something like that, you're always going to get first right of refusal if there's a maintenance call. And then if you say, nope, go for it, we're $75 an hour because I have to cover the workman's comp and the insurance. If I send guys onto your property, that if they get hurt, you don't get sued. It's on my insurance.
Yep. Makes sense.
Don't hire your cousin who paints if they don't have workman's comp, because they could own that property if they cut off their toe mowing the lawn.
Wow.
Yeah. Your middle name now is manager, right? Or yeah, how's it go? Yeah. Demetrius Pollard / manager. Your middle name is comma, your last name is manager. Always will sign that way. Always. Get used to it. So you wake up from a sleep and just write your name, comma, manager.
Gotcha.
Because if you're just signing it as your name, a smart lawyer can say, oh no, he's not an LLC. Look, he's signing it as himself. You don't want that to happen. Like all my signatures that my team needs, if they need to put my signature on a document, it's always Brian Lucier / manager, comma, manager / lessor. Because I need to have those words on there to represent you.
Okay.
Fun stuff, huh?
Yeah, it is. It is. I love it. I love learning about it.
Well, you're going to learn a lot. Um, I would also encourage you, like, we have a YouTube channel. We've got one season of podcasts right now. We've got our next season booked out all the way to November. But we
Okay.
alternate back and forth. The yellow ones are tips and tactics. And then the blue interviews are people I've known throughout the industry. And they just tell their story. What did they do right? What did they do wrong? And how they got to where they are. And some of these people own like hundreds of $1 millions of real estate.
Wow.
We've got a couple billionaires on there, but I'm not going to tell you who they are because I don't want their emails to get lit up. But yeah, it's I've been doing this a long time, 23 years. I made a lot of contacts. I've been in Massachusetts managing for 23 years. The
Mhm.
other markets, maybe the last 4 or 5. And I love doing this. I built a machine, I built the operations. I love running it. I love throwing wood in the fire and cranking up
Mhm.
the heat. I train my team, I handpick my team. We got rock stars. And if somebody's not performing as a rock star, they know I will jump on a plane, show up in the office the next morning, collect keys, cell phone, and show that person the door.
Mhm.
Because I'm not going to let someone with a sense of entitlement come into my team and ruin what I built.
Yeah.
Ain't going to happen.
Yep. Yep.
That's me.
Yep. Makes sense. Makes sense. Because Mike was a rock star.
Mike is rocks.
Yeah,
He,
Mike Mike was definitely a rock star.
yeah, he actually was on vacation last week. He came down here, and there were quite a few nights we just sat out till 1 o'clock in the morning talking about stuff and operations. And it was like, Ryan, well, what if this happens? Okay, Mike, this is what would happen. And it just, just scenario after scenario. And to the point where it's like, okay, I really have to go to bed because I can only keep one eye open now. But it was good that he has all these questions. And Hank is a rock star. Tyann is a rock star. Pete is great on make readies. He likes to go into a building with nobody else around and just knock it out. That's Pete's superpower. So,
Yep. And,
yeah.
and I heard you guys also offer like the rehab of a property.
Yeah.
So unit 1 and unit 3, they have tenants right now, but when they move out, I would like to rehab them. They definitely need some rehab
Okay. I've got
just for
my
them.
CSL. I've got a good relationship with the city. If you're going to do anything like that, do it by the letter of the code. My CSL is construction supervisor license, which means I can pull a permit for a property owner to do a rehab. This is
Mhm.
the 3 unit. Hear me when I say this. Only rehab 1 unit per year plus a day. Let that sink in.
Mhm.
I'm waiting for you to ask me why.
Yeah, why? Yeah.
Because it's a 3 unit property. When you bought it, you did it with a residential loan.
Hmm.
Because the bank looks at it, anything 4 units and under is a residential loan, anything 5 units up is a commercial property. That's the
Hmm.
bank and finance. Building code, you just bought a commercial property.
What makes a commercial by building code?
3 units and up.
Oh, 3 units. Yeah. Okay.
So if you do more than 33% of a commercial property under a renovation, you're putting in a sprinkler system. Let's not do that.
Okay.
That's a $40,000 to $60,000 system.
Hmm.
Whereas if we can space this out and wait a year plus 1 day, like when that permit for unit number 1 closes, say it's July 1st, 2024, we're not going to
Hmm.
pull another permit at that building until July 2nd, 2025,
Hmm. Hmm.
because I want to bypass this whole have to put in sprinklers.
So how does it work if you rehab an entire property? Like if let's say you bought like a apartment complex with like 8 or 10 units, would you still have to pay that $40,000 to $60,000 fee for sprinklers?
Depends. It depends. 33%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say it's a 9 unit.
Mm-hmm.
If you do 2 units a year or 3 units a year, in 3 years you do the whole rehab without tripping the wire to have to put in sprinklers.
Mm.
If you're rehabbing more than 33% of the unit, you got to put in sprinklers.
Wow. Is that a Massachusetts code, or is that like a United States kind of?
IBC is International Building Code. This is on the planet Earth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And down here, I walk around this island and I see stuff that makes me cringe. Like I was walking around with Mike and we were actually taking pictures of exposed wires next to seawater without
Mm.
junction boxes. And it's like, yeah, how do you like it, Mike? There's no Romex cable down here. It all looks like cable, like TV cable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different world down here for sure.
Okay, that's good to know.
Now,
Wow. Okay.
you've got
I've
IBC,
never heard that. Never heard that.
IBC, yeah, IBC, International Building Code. We've got a stack of all the books in the office. If the guys get stuck, they'll call me. I've memorized the table of contents because it's basically from permit to roof and everything in between in order, the
Mm-hmm.
logical way to build a building.
Mm-hmm.
So, stairs, 314, right? You go to 314, you see everything about stairs. So, yeah, I go down a rabbit hole there. This was all about if you were going to do a rehab at one of your units, we could definitely pull the permits. I've got a good relationship with the inspectors, and we'll take it from there. If you're going to do a rehab, talk to me first before you go in and start opening up walls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll do it right.
Mm-hmm.
We'll keep you under the radar on the inspector because
Right.
I just tried to help out one of our clients. It wasn't even a property we manage, but he bought a property that had been vacant for more than 2 years, which changed its use and occupancy to a vacant building.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So it's not grandfathered in as a 3 unit anymore. And now he's got to do all this compliance stuff. Guess what? He opened up all of his walls. The inspector said, I'm not even going to walk into that building until you show me the estimate and quote for how you're going to install a sprinkler system.
Wow.
He had the best of intentions. What he's going to do now, he's got two options. Move forward as a 3 unit and put in a sprinkler system, or keep it as a 2 unit and not have to do a sprinkler system. Keep it as a residential 2-family, which lowers the value of the property. So he's going to take a bath.
Mm.
I said, next time you do this, call me first.
Wow. Wow. That's
Because
unfortunate.
if he would have known going in that this was a 3 unit vacant building for 2 years, I would have
Mhm.
advised him to renegotiate the price $40,000 to $50,000 to pay for
Yep.
the sprinkler system.
Yep.
You live and learn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the rented,
I'm sorry, not to cut you off. Just to revisit. So the 3,400 in August, you guys are taking 10% from that. So you'll take the 340.
right,
Uh, so the 3,060 will be. Are we leaving it in the account for future expenses or future maintenance expenses? Is that what you would kind of recommend? That
right,
maybe,
right now the money is in your
because that
pocket.
could even go towards like the stove.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
let's see. The first thing I want to do, and I'm going to open up this window, and just so you know, I'm recording all of this, and I'm going to give you this recording so you can go back because I know I've given you a drink of water with a fire hose here. So I want you to be able to go back and listen to this, okay?
Yep.
I'm going to look at your property here. I want to see if they have actually activated their portals yet. Unit 1, 1 out of the 2 is active. That's good. Unit 3. Has not activated their portal. So I'll have Tyann reaching out to them. We'll get them to activate their portals. We can send them videos on how to do that. We want that to happen because I want one point of contact for them to make maintenance calls. If they get on their app, say, hey, my toilet's running, they submit it as a work order. The guys check the work orders throughout the day. You'll know about them immediately. They can pay their rent through the portal. They'll see all their documents through the portal. It's fast, easy, convenient. They don't have to get off the couch to pay the rent. And then the other part of this, I think you have this already. Let me go into Google Drive. You should have, let's see. So we do checks and balances. We have 2 systems. One is the Appfolio property management software, which does horrible accounting reports, horrible, but they do other things well. 80–90% of what Appfolio does is great. I'm not happy with their reporting systems, balance sheets, or anything like that. So I'm just double checking at the bottom here. You should have a Google Sheet. Okay, you don't have a Google Sheet yet, so I will be issuing a Google Sheet to you. You're going to get an invite. This is what we use with all of our clients in our own properties. The first page is a balance sheet, profit and loss, real simple. At the end of the year, we'll give you a PDF of the entire workbook. All you have to give to your accountant is the first sheet. Simple.
Okay.
It's easier for us to see how a property's going. The next 2 tabs are maintenance and materials. So if we get a snowplow bid, that's going to be under materials because that's something we're paying out of pocket. If we send the guy over there, and we bill in 15-minute intervals. So it's not like a guy's going to show up, do a 15-minute job and charge you for an hour. I wouldn't accept that as a landlord. So for how we built our timesheets, everything's in Google Sheets. The easiest way for us to do it was 0.25, 0.5, 0.75 of an hour. Easy.
Yep.
So half hour is what? 75 divided to 32, 37.50. Half hour would be 37.50, right? So in the next 2 tabs, you'll see the entire year, month by month by month by month. If there's a charge, when it happened, when they started, when they ended, how much it cost, details about what it was. You see everything to the penny. If you see a charge for like a door lock, if it's Home Depot, they scan in the receipt, and those you will get through your Appfolio reports. So that part of Appfolio is good. You'll get your Appfolio report. Any scans for any receipts for your property that month get to you.
Okay.
We like to do that as the work orders come in, notify you, because I don't want you to be looking at a statement at the end of the month and say, whoa, I got 7 work orders. You need to see what's going on as it's happening, right? If you got a work order on this day, and that's going to be like the stove and the heating system, that's a huge hunk. So if somebody says, well, I'd really like to get a new cabinet, great. We're going to put that cabinet off till next month where cash flow can cover that.
Right.
I want you to have cash flow to manage your mortgage, your insurance, your taxes, your water bill, all that fun stuff.
Nice.
So the Google Sheet.
Appfolio, I don't have access to Appfolio.
No, not Appfolio. Appfolio is rear view mirror. You're going to get all that on the 16th because you'll get your distribution on the 15th.
Okay.
But
Okay.
like our fiscal month starts on the 16th
Mm-hmm.
to the 15th. That's when we do the payout to the landlords. So on the
Okay.
first of the month, rent is due. On the
Mm-hmm.
second of the month, if we have people who consistently pay rent late, we're issuing them a 14-day notice to train them to pay the rent on time.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't do that, by the 14th of the month, we're going to start a court case. They have every right to cure that, but they need to pay the rent. I want
Mm-hmm.
all deposits in our account by the 5th, because it takes 3 to 5 days to clear. By the 10th, I'm going to know if anybody bounced a check. So they're going to give us a money order or a bank cashier's check. Then that will clear the account. So by the 15th, I can write you a check that's solid. Or it won't even be a
Okay.
check. It's going to be an ACH distribution.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So this month you've already collected rent. I'll let accounting know. We're going to carry this into next month.
For the okay. For the mortgage payment, are we in control of making that payment? Like, so
You
you
are,
guys,
that's on you. We're going to,
okay.
yeah, like your taxes, insurance, water bill, mortgage. What we give you, it's
Actually,
okay. It's on the recording. You're going to get this.
okay, okay, okay.
Your mortgage, that's your first thing.
Uh-huh.
Your water bill, Fitchburg
Water.
is nice. They bill you that every month. Your
Uh-huh.
taxes, that's quarterly. And
Mhm.
your insurance, at your closing, you probably had to put a chunk away for your insurance in escrow. If you
Yep.
go through your mortgage documents, you'll see if you had to do escrow. Or you could call your closing attorney. They'll know the
Mhm.
answer to that. But
Okay.
as long as you're getting cash flow to cover your expenses, then
Mhm.
everything else is real cash flow.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So if I switch my account from the personal account to the LLC account, you guys would just ACH the money to the LLC account rather than the personal account.
Whichever one you tell me to.
Whichever. Okay. Okay.
Because when we talked, we set up your account on your private bank account. Yeah, I double checked. We didn't, I had you not put it on the contract. I wanted you to call me over the phone. We did it over the phone, did it that way.
Okay.
Demetrius, how old are you?
I am 31.
Damn, I started this game when I was 38.
38. Ooh.
Yeah,
I got a 7-year head start.
you do. And you've got me to hold your hand through the mountain path here and keep you from stepping on landmines.
Mhm.
So it took me 5 years to figure out a lot of this stuff. And I think for the last 7, we've been managing properties for other owners.
Mhm.
So you are client 148.
Wow. Good for you.
No, good for you too, because now you get all of my experience from the other 147 clients and
Mhm.
hundreds of tenants who've given me brain damage so I can keep them out of your head.
How are there do you have any like recommendations that you would give someone who's kind of like bought their first multifamily and who wants to continue to buy real estate?
Yeah,
Like if there was any recommendations that you could kind of give.
yes. Educate yourself,
Mhm.
learn market cycles. As you can probably see, I like to read books.
Mhm.
I'm sure you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, bridge that poor day. Yep.
Okay, so that changes your mindset, assets to liabilities.
Mhm. I'm kind of I'm on this right now.
Hold it up. Who
But
is that? Ken
Ken,
McElroy?
yeah, Ken
He's
McElroy.
the
Yeah,
man.
yeah. He's got some good
Yeah.
information.
I Colorado, May 3rd, 4th, 5th. I actually met Ken. I got some pictures with him. I had some nice conversations with him. He did a keynote address, talked about where the market is going right now and things that Ken said of where we're going in the market right now. Property management is key. So that actually will bring me round circle to your unit when I go back there. So yeah, educate yourself. Ken McElroy for sure. The ABCs of Real Estate Investing, really good book. So here's the strategy I've told my sons. You've got your first three family.
Mm-hmm.
And now on bigger pockets, they call it the BRRRR method,
The Burr,
like
yep. Mm-hmm.
buy, rehab.
Rent,
I
repeat.
can't think of all of them. Renovate, refinance, repeat, whatever it is, right? We used to call that milk money. So you buy a property, you get equity in the property, you capital strip the equity out, buy another one, and you do this for your first
Mm-hmm.
five properties. This is what we did. It took
Mm-hmm.
us 3 years when we started. The market was going up. We're in a
Mm-hmm.
different phase of the market than where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, I'm getting ready for the falling knife,
Mm-hmm.
where all real estate tanks. You don't want to hear this because you just bought a property.
Yeah. But just hold on. It's a
Buy
roller
and
coaster.
hold. That's why they call it buy
Yeah.
and hold. Right? As
Yeah.
long as you're, as long as you're paying your bill and everything's great, you're good. Wait, buy and hold. You're 31 years old, for Pete's sakes. You've got
Mm-hmm.
time to recover. You're good. Yeah, so buy that first property, get equity up because the tenants are going to pay down your mortgage. Your mortgage is going to stay the same. Your rents are going to go up. That spread of cash flow month to month, your margin is going to grow. When you get equity, refinance out, repeat and do it again. We
Mm-hmm.
did that with our first property. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know market cycles. We put way too much down on our first property. We put down $40,000, but within a year, we were able to refinance, get that money out, buy another one. And we just repeated this for our first three properties. So we did the first property, used that strategy to buy the second property.
Mm-hmm.
On the third year, we took both of these, used that strategy simultaneously to get the fifth property. So that $40,000 got us up to $1.3 million worth of assets within 3 years.
Wow. Wow. Were you guys buying distressed properties, or were you guys just buying?
Bread and butter three families,
Mm.
simple three family properties. I would say buy a 4 unit property because that extra rent still has you under commercial loan and it gives you that extra rent to cover you in a vacancy, gives you better cash flow.
Yep.
So
Okay.
if you're going to stay where you are right now, I would be looking for 4 units.
4 units.
And it looks like you live in a house. Is that correct?
Well, we actually sold our house to get the funds for the multifamily, to
So
purchase the multifamily. So we actually downsized. I have a 1-year-old daughter, and I just had a newborn son. So I'm bringing my wife home from work. So she's stopping work, and I'm a teacher and trying to just get in real estate and just find some different ways to like get some income, some cash flow.
so are you renting?
I'm renting right now. Yep.
Okay. Here's the strategy I would suggest. This is what I've told my sons to do. Your
Mm-hmm.
next building, 4 unit, buy a nice one, move into it, into one of the units.
Mm-hmm.
Pay your rent to yourself every month.
Yep.
Because now that goes into your war chest to build up your equity to buy your next one.
Mm-hmm.
Live there for at least 1 year. Because now, under the tax law, you're not paying capital gains on your primary residence.
Mm-hmm.
Do that 4 times, you can retire.
Nice.
Then on the fourth one, you take the equity from all of your properties, you buy your dream home for your family.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I think you'll be 40 by then,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
able to retire at 40. But I think you're going to find you enjoy this game so much, you won't want to retire, which is where I am in life. I'm 62 years old right now, and I'm interviewing all these people. I've got maybe 12 different investors with gunpowder on the side. We're looking for deals.
Mm-hmm.
I've got people looking for small deals. myself, I'd love to do 100, 200, 300 units.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's
Yep.
just a game.
Yep.
You know, if you can buy a property and the numbers are there and the margins are there and you can live where you want, invest where it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm barefoot wearing cutoffs right now. And if I look that way, I see jet skis and catamarans.
Wow.
23 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, where were you in 23 years? Right?
Yep.
Yeah, educate the snot out of yourself. Um, we're working on getting the podcast onto a real podcast so you can just listen to it and not have to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got virtual assistants who are working on that, but yeah, I think I sent you the link for that in the first email.
You did. You did.
Okay. How are we doing? How else can I?
I'll definitely be checking it out.
Yeah,
Definitely be checking.
I'll get you this so you can just like watch it and listen to it and pick it apart because I know I've said some stuff on here that you should listen to again.
Yep.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. Hey, you know,
Sounds good.
can we make this a podcast?
Yeah. Definitely could.
I mean, seriously, would you be willing to do that? Because I've walked you through a lot of beginner stuff that
Mm-hmm.
is good stuff. I mean, I could get on, you know, I'll get off camera, get back on camera, do a little introduction, say, hey, my real estate peeps, this is something a little different. I'm meeting the client for the first time, and with his consent, we're doing a podcast.
Yeah, definitely. I would like that.
Cool. You can point your mom to this one, or your mom, dad, mom. I'm on YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be
No,
cool.
yeah, that sounds good. That sounds real good, actually.
As a brand new landlord, what's your biggest challenge today?
My biggest challenge would be finding tenants to to live into the units. Also saving enough for maintenance fees, knowing what money can be used for myself, but then also saving enough for if anything goes wrong with the property.
Well, I know you have some really good books in your hands that'll walk you through on how to do all that. What I would suggest as your cash flow happens, build up reserves, because even seasoned landlords I know don't build up reserves. Eventually, you want to get to the point where you could cover your expenses for 3 to 6 months for the property. Okay, so that's one thing apart from your cash flow that comes in. The other part of that you mentioned was tenants. Absolutely, go back into our blog posts and stuff like that. We got a lot of blog posts on the Belaire.co site on screening tenants, but we'll be doing that for you. I've trained my team to hand pick the best tenants. There's a whole list of criteria that they need to meet before we will even give them a showing at your property. Because that's where a landlord can cut corners, which can actually cripple your business. If you put in a tenant who knows how to work the system and stops paying rent, and you're
Mm-hmm.
not prepared for what to do next, we've taken over properties this year, brace yourself. One unit owed $18,000 in rent. Another one owed $22,000 in rent. And then there was another that was $16,000 in rent, all in the same building.
Wow.
Yeah, so that landlord carried that building and was going back and forth trying to get these people out and couldn't do it. We came in, we know what we need to do. We've done more evictions in 2023 than I've done in my 23 years of being a landlord.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking on so many clients who were in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad you found us. Hope it works. You know, I
Me
hope
too.
we meet your expectations. Let me say it that way. So if you could ask me any question as a property manager, what would you want to ask me?
if I wanted to get into being a property manager or to learn more about real estate, other than reading books and educating yourself that way, how would you go about learning how to manage properties and informing other people who want to get into that side of business? How could they then learn how to manage multifamilies or even commercial real estate properties, going from a 3 unit building to, let's say, a 10, 12 unit building? What advice would you give someone like that?
Educate yourself. And I know that you're already doing that because you're reading the books. Learn how to underwrite a property. And in your group, in your neighborhood, start searching out meetup groups. My wife and I would do this for a long time. The kids were old enough, so we would call it date night. We would go out together and sit with a bunch of other real estate investors, sit in the room and just listen and learn. Because when you walk into a RIA, which is a real estate investor association, a RIA, you're sitting with all like-minded people who have taken the journey that you've already taken. And we love to share our experiences with people who ask to hear it. Like, I won't do this at Thanksgiving dinner because everybody thinks I'm bragging. I think you froze. Are you still there? Demetrius?
Brian?
Yep, okay, you're back.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely start going on to Meetup, REIA, REIA, Real Estate Investor Associations. Start checking those out. There's some really good ones in your area. I'm actually coming back into Massachusetts on the 24th, and the last day of July, I'm going to be in New Hampshire giving a presentation to a RIA, to a group of investors. Love to have you come up as my guest. I'll give you some blings, some swag, all that stuff. I'm trying to get Tyann to come up with me as well. But yeah, that'll be a fun event. I've got.
Yeah, that would be nice if you could send me that information.
Oh
I
yeah,
would
sure,
definitely.
absolutely, yeah. So get into your networking events. Get into these meetup groups because COVID's passed. You can actually show up again. And the first couple months, just sit in the room and listen to people, listen to people talk and learn their conversations and how they talk about things and how they think about things. Property management, I will tell you, is a thankless job. We got into the property management through the back door because my wife and I had accumulated over 60 units. So we built a property management company. I was a president of a landlord association for 18 years. And after a while, different landlords would call me 2 or 3 times a week asking, how do I do this? How should I handle that? This happened, what do I do next? So one day I hung up the phone, looked at my wife and said, why don't we just manage for other people? I'm kind of doing it already. So she said, what would that look like? So I wrote a 140-page treatise on all the operations that I knew from doing it for over a decade. And that became the blueprint for Belaire.
Nice.
And then we opened up and it's been a wild ride. I mean, there's been peaks and valleys, but right now we're in a good spot. We've got rock stars. I've learned how to hire rock stars, how to train and retain rock stars. So we're in a good spot. We're at over 300 doors with goals to get up to 1,500.
Nice. And I'm sure you will. It's only a matter of time.
There it is, right? Yeah. Having a good plan. Yeah, and just keep absorbing books. I mean, I love reading books. I'm reading right now The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Really great book. It's about positive mindset and having the right mindset that you can do this is half the battle. Showing up.
Question for you. So
Yeah.
how do you retain? So I'm reading the ABCs of real estate investing. How do you retain all the information? Because there's so much information within the book. How do you retain that information, or how do you decide which information is important which information is kind of like I don't really have to worry about that. Like, I don't know if that was a confusing question, but
Oh no. Oh no, not at all.
Mhm.
And I'm going to flip the script right on you, teacher.
Uh-huh.
How do you address your students when you're teaching them to retain information that's important? How do you teach them to learn?
Mhm. I feel like it's the application. Like you have to go out and actually try to work on it, or you have to put yourself in those experiences, and even like through failure, that's where you kind of can learn.
Okay. I would say learn from other people's failures.
Learn from other people's failures.
So show up at these RIAs, read these books, listen to some of the podcasts. I mean, pretty much every one of these podcasts, someone's going to tell you something that went south and
Hmm.
how they had to get around it.
Yeah.
So if you get that mindset, okay, this is just an issue, and if I isolate it as an issue and don't get emotional about it, come up with 5 ways to solve that. And then which way makes the most sense. Real
Hmm.
estate is a people relationship business. Like
Hmm.
they call what I do property management. What I do all day is manage people. Yeah. A toilet has never called me at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay? And tenants don't either because we have systems in place that teach them how to address repairs. So if they're following the protocol, uh, yeah, we've built a pretty good machine. So now I just want to add cylinders.
Hmm. Nice. And I think that's where I am right now. I'm very hungry to not even just learn about real estate, but like personal development, just improving my speech. And I feel like I'm getting an overload of kind of information. So it's like trying not to overwhelm myself, knowing that I am 30 years old. Granted, that's old, young, it's relative, that's a relative age. But how just not to overwhelm myself? Because when you first get into real estate, you're hearing so many different things. You're listening to podcasts, you're listening to different people talk, you're listening to different methods and advice that you're getting from all these different sources. Like just figuring out what information is important and what should I focus on as like a new investor.
Sure.
That's kind of just where I am right now.
I probably say this on half of the shows I've done. You can ask 10 different investors what their real estate strategy is and get 12 different answers.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
everybody has a niche that they
Mhm.
like. For me, it's always been apartment buildings. Have I flipped? Yeah. For me, that was work because you have to do all this work to find, fix, and dispose of the property, and then you have nothing. So you have to start all over again. I've always liked the buy and hold, which is similar to the fix and flip, except you don't flip it, you keep it and get cash flow.
Mhm.
So that's always been the model for me. 3 years ago, when the market was what we thought the market was pretty high, we dumped maybe about 75% of our portfolio and just spread out. And now we have cash and reserves waiting for. See, commercial loans are different from residential loans.
Mhm. Mhm.
Commercial loans reset in 5 years. So people who were buying 5 years ago, interest rates have been crawling up.
Mhm.
So if they were tight on a margin 5 years ago, when they have to refinance, that deal may not make sense anymore. They
Mhm.
may have to sell.
Yeah.
And once people have to sell, then it's a stampede of people selling, which will force the prices down, which will force people like me to come off the sidelines and start picking up properties left and as fast as I can.
Wow.
It's a cycle. It's a cycle,
Yeah.
right? Um,
I guess
so
how do you avoid that?
how do you avoid that? Know your
Yeah.
market cycle and know where you are.
There you are.
Yeah. Um, you would have gotten our spring market report, our rental report, in one of the emails to you.
Mhm.
Check that out and just look at the charts, right? There's a lot of stories and stuff in there. You know,
Mhm.
we wrote a bunch of scenarios on how to do this and how to do that. just look at the charts and see where your trends have been going. This past year, we've seen for the first time rents start to level out because they've been consistently climbing 6 to 10% for the last 5 years, which has been great for anybody who's buying.
Mhm.
But if this starts to turn around, you know, Warren Buffett says you'll see who's swimming naked when the tide goes out. So those people who didn't have their expenses covered when they have to rewrite their mortgages, it's gonna look totally different.
Mhm.
So yeah, I know a lot of huge investors, and I just got invited onto an investor group in WhatsApp. These are all huge players. Why they invited me, I'm just thankful that they invited me. But these
Mhm.
are people who have like 300, $500 million portfolios. I don't have a 300, $500 million portfolio,
It's just a sign you're on your way.
but I bring something to the table
Mhm.
because of
Mhm.
23 years of experience.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
I commend you. I mean, 5 years from now, you're going to look back on this video and say, wow, I can't believe I asked that question. The obvious answer is X, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So we've been on about an hour and 15 minutes, believe it or not.
Mhm.
That's a that's a pretty good show.
Yeah.
And we kind of converted this into a show halfway through. So I want to thank you for your willingness to share your experiences as a beginning investor.
Mhm.
What you're putting down here, I think, is super valuable to anybody who's taking that first dip of their toe into the pool, because your concerns, your everything that you bring here through your heart is the same thing other people are thinking and feeling. So
Mhm.
I think that's really valuable, and I thank you for being vulnerable to ask these questions.
Of course.
Yeah. So what else can I do to help you today?
Let's see. I think all the questions I had originally, I think we pretty much got through them. Um, so this is about my property. The second unit building, the gas stove, I know we talked about that, but it wasn't even the gas wasn't turning on. So how do I get the gas turned on for that unit?
We call it Unitil. Unitil for that building in Fitchburg, Unitil does the gas and the electric.
It's called Unitil.
Yeah.
Mm, okay.
And if you go outside to the building, it'll be the meter that's not spinning, or there'll be like a little plastic padlock on it
Okay. But I'm responsible for getting in contact with Unitil.
until we get a tenant in there, and then everything will have to be transferred over into their name.
Okay.
But to
Okay.
test that stove, yeah, I would definitely want to test that stove in the heating unit now,
Okay.
even though it's summertime, so
Yeah.
we can be prepared for what might need to happen down the road.
Okay. Yeah, I'll call them today.
Sure.
Get that going. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm happy I found this property management company. A lot of people like to skip this step because they want to save some money, but I'd rather spend a little bit of money now to save me from a big problem later on.
Well, the last podcast I did, Matt Swerk says you got to pay to play.
Hmm.
So you're either paying us for our experience and our guidance, or you're going to do it the hard way and pay for it that way and
Yep.
learn by not knowing.
Yep.
So if your goal is to grow a portfolio, my goal is to take this part of the equation off of your brain so you can focus on finding deals.
Yep.
Because if you're managing a property full time, you're not, you don't have the time you need to look for deals and analyze deals.
Yep. 100%.
Yep.
100%.
If you,
And even this conversation is priceless. You can't put a price on even the conversation we're having.
I'm
So
looking forward to 3 years from now when you look at this and say, oh man, I was so green back then. And now I've got like 5 properties, and I'm a, 5 years from now, I expect you to be a millionaire.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm. I believe it.
And if you're ambitious, three.
Hmm.
Just keep doing the reps.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't see it over my desk, but I used to weigh 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost 110 pounds.
Wow.
Grandpa's got an 8-pack.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's those small habits, those small routines, those things that you change, right?
Yeah.
Like this is gold.
Mhm.
Whoever your realtor is that found you this deal, make sure that they're giving you that automatic feed through the MLS. So you've got deals that you're looking at every day,
Mhm.
right? And wake up an hour early, extra day, every day to just look at these deals and run the numbers and see if they work. Because then that'll become second nature to you. You'll just look at numbers and you'll know from doing 100 deals, oh, well, this, that, yeah, that works. Or this doesn't work, but if I offered at this price, it would.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
I appreciate that, man.
What do you teach?
I teach ninth grade math, so algebra one.
Oh, good,
Yeah,
good, good.
I love math. I'm a big numbers guy.
All right. I think
That's why I'm so interested in real estate too, because I see numbers. I see how things are kind of working and how it can be just profitable, and it can help you build wealth for your family.
you're going to watch some of the blue videos because some of the deals people do, like if you want to just fast forward until you see what's the best deal you ever did, how did you find it, how did you finance it, if you get to that, those are gold
Yep.
because you'll hear deals where people made 80, 100, $150,000 within a year
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because they bought the property right.
I'm
And
definitely gonna check those
it's
videos.
you can do it. You absolutely can do it. These people have done it. We all put on our pants one leg at a time. I've done it. I put
Mm-hmm.
on my bathing suit one leg at a time.
Yep.
Okay, bad beach joke there, but yeah. So Mike has keys.
Mike has the keys. Yep, he said he was going to make copies and give them to me.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your property real quick. I'm going to
Hmm.
post it up for 1,700. Probably have your ad created by noontime. I'll send you a link to it.
Hmm. There's
Anything
also there's also a one car garage that's attached to the property.
is
So I was thinking maybe we could offer that with the second unit as well, for like storage, or if they don't want to park their car.
I'm going to keep
So
it separate right now because right around the corner from you, we get 150 bucks for renting the garage.
yep.
If you have parking spaces for everybody,
Hmm.
have that as a standalone. If somebody moves in and wants to rent it, I would have that as two separate lease agreements,
Oh, okay.
right? Because now
Yep.
they have to pay their lease for the residential
Hmm.
and then storage
Okay.
because the laws are different. But if you
Hmm.
wrap it all together, now their storage becomes part of the residential.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll keep it separate. Yeah,
Sounds
and you
good.
never know. You might have somebody with a boat or a classic car or something like that who wants to store it, and we'll pay 150, 200 bucks a month.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Is that something that you guys could put out as well?
absolutely. We got all those leases in place. Just so
Okay.
you know, our lease is like 38 pages long,
Hmm.
and we've been working on this for 20, 22 years, our lease. So
Hmm.
every time we've got brain damage, a new clause goes in the lease so we don't get brain damage again.
Hmm.
So yeah, you'll when we rent this second floor for you, I want you to really go through that lease, and you're going to have a lot of jaw drop moments. It's like, wow, why is that in there? It's like because somebody brought us to school. That's why it's in there.
Living
Okay.
and learn.
So yeah, if you want, let me get that posted. If you want, we can get on a quick call after you see it. Of course, I'm going to chat GPT this ad, make it as well as I can. I'm probably going to see if I can go online too and get a few more pictures of the property
Mhm.
because I got 7 pictures from Mike. Okay, I can post it with 7 pictures. Some of our postings have like 60, 70 pictures.
Mhm.
So, I'm I'm a big fan of getting people enticed to step forward.
Yep. Sounds good.
Demetrius, this has been fun. My pleasure to meet you. I hope the same for you.
Definitely, definitely. Appreciate the conversation, Brian.
Absolutely. So now we're going to sign this off as if it were a podcast.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, my guest, first-time property purchaser, first-time landlord, 24 hours old as a landlord, newbie baby. Welcome to the show, Demetrius. Ladies and gentlemen, Demetrius Pollard, and this is Brian Lucier from the Why Not Real Estate Podcast, signing off, and we'll see you on the next one.